Hey everyone, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I am really excited to share with you my project for today. I have been searching and searching for a really cute pie box. And I found a lot of templates that were just a little more difficult than what I wanted. So I guess I just decided it was time to be creative and come up with something that's a little more simple because I am all about simple stamping. So I'm excited to share with you how easy it is to create these boxes. Now, what to put in a box like this? Well, for this one here, I filled it with some cherry sours. I thought that was awfully cute. This apple one, you could fill with those little caramel apple Werthers. I thought those would be really nice and they'd look really pretty in there. You notice that I have whipped cream on one and not on the other. I personally think every pie should have whipped cream, but I do have a video that'll show you how to create the whipped cream as well, and I'll have that link for you a little bit later. But let's get started with our box. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to work on our cardstock. I'm going to be creating a piece of pumpkin pie. I figure I had apple, I had cherry. Why not make pumpkin? So I've got a piece of 8.5 by 11 pumpkin pie cardstock. And let me show you real quick at the cutting that we're going to need to do on this. So I'm going to begin by taking that 8.5 piece, 8.5 by 5, and we're going to cut that off. So you can see I have a piece of 8.5 by 5. We're going to set that off to the side. I'm going to have 6 inches remaining. If you'll cut that down to 2 3/4, 2 3/4, it's going to leave you a remainder of 3 inches. So I'll have 2 3/4, and then a 3-inch piece. All right, moving on. We do need to trim those down. I know I just sent you over the edge with all of this, but listen, it really is easy. I wouldn't teach it if it weren't easy. So let me show you how to cut those pieces down now that you have them. So I've got my 2 3/4 inch. You're going to cut one of them down to 4 3/4. Another 2 3/4 will be cut down to 5 1/4. And then that remaining 3-inch piece, you'll cut it down to 5 1/2. Okay, so I'll have all those measurements available at SimplySimpleStamping.com, so you can go back and get those written down if you didn't get them, okay? All right, well, now that we have those cut, I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored board and show you how to do some of the scoring on this. Now, you can see I have 3 different sizes of cardstock, so let's start with the smallest one that we have. And I'm going to put that in vertically. So I've got the short end up here at the top, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch and 2 1/4 inches. That's all the scoring we're going to do on that piece. Let's bring in our next piece. This is the one that is 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. So the next size up, same thing, 1/2 inch and 2 1/4. Now, if you'll go ahead and rotate that and put that in horizontally, you're going to do another 1/2 inch mark just on one side. So this piece is 1/2 inch on 3 sides, okay? All right, we've got that one done. Let's bring in that big one that we had. This is the 3-inch by 5 1/2 inches. Same scoring, 1/2 inch and 2 1/4. Be aware this is 3 inches, so it is a little bit longer, and we intended to do that. We're going to rotate it, and if you'll score it at 1 inch and 4 1/2. Basically, we need 1 inch on each side. All right, well, I've got my scoring done, so let me set my board off to the side, and we're going to now come in and start to do some work with this piece here. This was my 8.5 by 5-inch piece of pumpkin pie. I'm just going to take it and fold it in half. I don't have to get crazy with the bone folder, but that'll get me going. I'm then going to bring in the perfect pennant die. It turned out to be perfect for my box because it's already shaped like a piece of pie. I'm just going to take that folded cardstock and lay it over the large pennant on there, and cutting plate on the top, cutting plate on the bottom. Run that through your Big Shot, and you're going to have 2 of these triangles cut out for your pie. All right? Now since we're working at the Big Shot, let's go ahead and bring in one more die, and that is the lattice die. That is what's going to make my pie with a nice little lattice on top. And I have a piece of baked brown sugar. I've cut that down 4 by 4. I'm going to lay that on the lattice die. Again, cutting plate on top, cutting plate on bottom. Run that through your Big Shot, and you're going to have this. And listen, while we've got this out, let's go ahead and put this part together, shall we? I'm going to bring in a little scrap paper here because I'm going to be using a 2-way glue pen And I tend to get a little glue everywhere, and I don't want my project to stick to me, so I'm going to just put that underneath. And you're just going to come in with this two-way glue, and you're just going to draw glue all the way around on every nook and cranny of your lattice die. I'm not going to do all that in front of you because I'll bore you to tears, but I'm going to bring in one of my pumpkin pie pieces, and I'm just going to lay this onto one of my triangles. Just kind of do your best to kind of center everything up there. And we're going to press that on, and then you can just come in with your paper snips and just snip away the excess. And when it's done, it's going to look like that. So now I've got the top of my pie all ready to go. It's time for the box. I'm so excited. Let's go. All right, we're going to start with those 3 pieces. Let's start with the smallest one that we have. And I'm going to do a little mitering. When it comes to boxes, you have to get rid of a little extra bulk. And what I'm doing is I'm just trimming from the score line and to the center. So I'm just cutting out some little triangles there, okay? And that's going to make this all go together nicely. Let's go ahead and bring in the next piece. This is the one with the 3 inches. And the best way to miter this one, you can see I've got 2 little squares here in the corner. Just cut those off from one corner to the other corner, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and miter out these ends so that I have that nice and clean. All right, these are the pieces I'm going to start with. So let me go with this one first. Bring in a piece of pie. And I'm actually going to use Snail on this project. You just really don't need any, you can use the Tombow glue or sticky strip, but really I found it went together pretty good this way. So you can see I've only put Snail up to my score line, and I'm just going to line up my pie piece with my score. One more thing before I adhere this down, I have my score lines going in a mountain, not in a valley. Hopefully that makes sense to you, but I kind of want to butt this up against the score. I don't want to be over it. Or my box kind of starts to look a little wonky. So I just want to make sure I'm just kind of right next to it. So I'm going to adhere that down. Let me come in now with my other piece of pie. We're going to adhere it to the other side. This is now the bottom of my box. And line that up with these bright lights. It's kind of hard to see, so hopefully I've got that on there. Okay, so you can see, look, it's Batman. Okay, so I did have my tab down here at the bottom and my triangles going out, so kind of be aware of that part. Now we're going to adhere this to our next piece, one of our side pieces. We're going to do the exact same thing just like we've been doing, just kind of butt it up against there. And that is the base part of our box. Now I'm going to go ahead and come in with my bone folder, and now I'm going to go ahead and crease everything. So I tried to crease everything ahead of time, but I actually found this to be a little bit easier. So let me flip that over so I don't hit that lattice at all. And make sure you get this little tab right here, because we need to make sure that one gets a good fold as well. All right, it's time to put this together. I'm going to put some Snail. You notice I am doing Snail all along the top. We really do want to make sure we get, or all along that tab. It is really important if we want this to stay together. So at this point, I want to start with this bottom tab. We're going to bring that together. And this way my box is still open. This allows me to kind of get my hand in there and give that a good press. And check this out. It's just going to come together so nicely. And if you can't get your hand in there, you can take your bone folder and give that a good press. And that is the beginning of our pie box. My pretty little pumpkin pie. Now let's do this lid. So, whoops, I've got my last piece. This is the 3" by 5.5" piece. And let me tell you, I'm going to give you just kind of probably the easier way of mitering this one. You can see there are 4 squares in each corner. Actually, they're a little more rectangle than they are square. We're going to go ahead and cut those off. And then I'm going to miter. I think it might be just a little bit easier to explain because there is some kind of all over the place mitering on this one. All right, so you can see I've cut off all my rectangles. Now, just like we've done before, just miter up to the score line that's on the outside. Now most of these are going to show, so take a little care making sure that you get them nice there. All right, now on these end pieces, go ahead and miter out a little bit, not too much. I mean, we do need our box to close, but I just want to get a little bit of that bulk out so that my box will go together really nicely, just like that. All right, at this point I am going to go ahead and give all of my score lines a good crease with my bone folder. And we are going to put Snail down this 1/2 inch side. Notice I've got 3/4 of an inch here and 1/2 inch here. Let's go ahead and put Snail down this side. Of course, there's my pretty side. So you can see my lid, or I guess we can just say the top of the box, is going to go right underneath. And we're just going to bring that right in there. I'm going to give that a press. When I've got it centered, again, I can come in with my bone folder and make sure that's really good. Check it out. There is my pumpkin pie box. Awesome. Now, it was a little sad, and I thought it needed some crust. So I've got a piece of the baked brown sugar, and I've got my scallop border, my scallop edge punch, my border punch. Now, this piece of cardstock, let me measure it again. I want to make sure I tell you right. 2.5 by 3.5. And I scored it at 1 3/4 of an inch. So I have a little tab here. Let's just put that into our punch and give that a little edge, because pie needs a little edge. And now we're just going to adhere this right onto our lid. Again, don't get chintzy with Snail on this project because we want to make sure everything holds together. So I can just bring that, line it up with my lid, and now I'm just going to give that a really good press, make sure everything's down nicely. And there is my pumpkin pie, and it needs whipped cream too. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring in my other boxes. As far as what kind of candy to put in that pumpkin one, I don't know if there's pumpkin candy out there. Maybe there is. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a pumpkin pie girl, so bear with me. I was going to tell you too, if you'd like, you can also come in with the baked brown sugar ink and sponge the edges of that crust if you want to just give it a little extra oomph there. So that is our pie in a box. Pie box, I love it. Now listen, I think you can see as these all come together, you could do about 8 of them and have them on a platter, and they would just be an adorable little favor for Thanksgiving or Christmas, don't you think? I just think they are awesome. Oh, before I go, I do have to show you one other thing. This box can also be cake. Of course, we would not have crust because there's no crust on cake, right? But I just have a piece of, this is white cardstock. You'll use, of course, whatever color you want. And I just tore the edges. And you can see I now have a 3-layer cake that you could just wrap that all the way around and hide it there in the back. And now you have a slice of cake instead of a slice of pie. So there are some options of different things that you could do with your box. What do you think? Oh, I hope you guys like that one because I'm just so tickled with how it came out. I really am. Now listen, all the supplies that I used today, the pennant die and the lattice die, all that can be found at simplysimplestamping.com. There's an online order button there for you, so it's very easy. You can just click on that, place your order. I'll have a complete supply list of everything that I use, so you don't have to worry about if you wrote everything down right. I'll have it all waiting for you there at simplysimplestamping.com. Listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you like that project, and it's one that you will find many uses for. I appreciate you all so much. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.